And the first thing I need to do is make sure I'm sharing my screen on Zoom, right? Right. All right. You can now see what I'm looking at. Ah, how thoughtful of me. All right, so we're going to do Domania 2. So let me see, do I have any examples in here? Probably not. Probably not. What the heck? What's your problem? Yep, no examples. Cool. Awesome. Because these were meant to, you actually have to watch the video or, do with me. So we'll minimize that. So we are going to do the next one, which is Domania 2, right? 2. Like WrestleMania, but Domania. Does that work for everybody? I'm going to go File, Save As. Might as well get it ready since I know what I'm doing, right? Oh, no. Never claim you know what you're doing, guys. Don't claim you know what you're doing. Then there's expectations. We're going to figure it out. That's what we're going to do. All right, saving that. That's ready to go. Take this. Delete. That one too. Go away. We don't need you. You too. Go away. You're unwanted. And we can update the date here. Boom, 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 boom. Did it update? It did update. No, it didn't. That's okay. I don't want to double click it. I want to delete it. There we go. Insert. All better now. All right, so I'm just getting my document ready to submit stuff because as I take my screenshots, this will be a good thing to do. So Domania 2, if you guys remember Windows 10, we did Domania 1, which was just joining a domain. So this one's actually going to be creating our Active Directory domain services, and we're going to be going over what this is doing for us. So let's get ready. DC1. Yes, how you doing, DC1? We were having fun yesterday, weren't we? All right. So that was the little text document that I printed to when I did the IP config/all caret and then whatever I named it. But today we're actually going to start putting our roles and features on this. So Domania 2 is we're creating our first domain server. So in your use certify, it probably had you come over to administrative tools or something. So after we get it done, we can manage stuff from in here and we'll actually get Active Directory users and computers. So right now we don't have those options because we don't have the features and roles installed. So we're going to go into our server manager. Yep, server manager. So when you first open it, we'll come to this. So we did number 1. That's one of the first things we did. We did 1 and we configured this local server. We went through here and we made all our changes and everything. So we made sure that we were activated, our time zone was right, that our updates were whatever we wanted our updates to be. Our network, we are going to have to put something on our network now. Nick Teeman, remote desktop was enabled. So we didn't do Nick Teeman, but we made sure that was enabled. We made sure remote management was enabled. And we renamed our computer AM or PM DC1 and then your initials. So for me, AM, PM, DC1, SLS, because I teach both classes. So what's one thing that Active Directory domain controller needs? So what's one requirement? What's the requirement that it's going to need? See if anyone remembers this or if anyone even touched their book. Anybody? Anybody? You can say, yes, I know, or no, I don't know. Yes, no. Whatever you want to put it in chat. AM or PM class. Write it in chat. Don't remember. I forgot. I don't know. My dog ate my homework. All right. So we must have a static IP address, guys. A static IP. That is very important. So I'm going to come here. And you don't want to change your IP address after you've created your network. After you've created your Active Directory, you don't want to change it because your DNS and everything is going to be hard set to that. So it's going to get grumpy on you if you decide to do that later. So we're going to come up here to our network adapter again. I just did that out of habit. I click right here on our Ethernet, and it's going to take us to our adapters right here. And I'm just going to right click and go to properties. So right now we're using dhcp, right? And our dhcp told us yesterday we're on a 192.168 scheme, right? So let's go to our status really quick right here. Go to details. So it tells us is a 192.168.0.73 is what I am on right now. So, and that we have, it's on blocks of knowledge and everything, but we're going to become our own domain controller, and we're going to make this all work just for us. So all this stuff's going to go out the door. We're going to flip over to a class A. Okay, we're going to do a 10 scheme, and we're going to stay in there. So it's not going to matter right now if we all have the same one, because eventually we're going to flip over to our private network when we do switch it up do-si-do. I'm going to close this one. Boom. I don't know. Never mind. I didn't mean to close it. So I'm going to give this, we're just going to do the one that we were familiar with the other one. We're going to do 10.10.10.1, which will cause a conflict with, hold on. No, that'll be just fine because I'm going to turn the other one off. So let me go to the beginning here. Maybe not. If my number lock wants to work with me here. Thank you. Anyone else hate number lock? So I'm just going to name it 10.10.10.1. I'm going to use the 10 scheme for servers. I'll use .1 schemes for workstations. And this should automatically fill in right here. So the 255.0.0.0, because it knows we're in a class A. I'm going to go to default gateway, and I'm just going to leave that blank because this is not going to matter right now because we're not going to be using that feature. For my DNS, I'm going to give my own IP address, because when I install Active Directory Domain Services, it's going to also install a DNS server on this computer. So I'm going to put my own here. So I could put 10.10.10.1, but what else can I put right here? I'll give you a hint. Local loopback. What's the number for local loopback? No, that's a class B. That's close, though. If you flip it the other direction, flip 2 of those digits. Yeah. So we're going to do 127.0.0.1. And that's just going to make us talk to ourselves, and it says, hey, it's on me. Let me look at me. Let's not waste our network. So that's where we're going to look for it. Now, later, we're going to have to set up another domain server, because for domain servers, you need a minimum of 2 domain servers to equal 1 domain. So don't confuse that as 2 domains. It's just 2 domain servers equal to 1 domain. And it just depends which one you're talking to, which is closest to you that you authenticate through. So I'm just going to put what I know it's going to be. We're going to give this a 10.10.10.2 for DC2. And I'm just going to hit OK. None of these are going to be valid right now because this ain't going to work. So don't worry about validate settings right now. Yeah, my coffee's sitting right in front of the door right now. I just saw the delivery. I'm going to hit OK. So it's going to say unidentified network. It's okay. We expect that at this point because we don't have a domain controller. We don't have DHCP. So we just lost everything right here. We're only talking to ourselves. We're creating our own network. So this is to be expected. But if you want to just be safe, you can do disable and enable. Now, once we create our domain on this, then it's going to tell us our domain name here. So we just need to know what we should expect at what step. So this is normal. This is okay right now. I'm going to close that. So when I hit refresh here, it should show that right now. This is a who am I, right? Who am I right here? I am 10.10.1 on the network. My computer name is AMPMDC1SLS, and I'm on workgroup named workgroup. So my stuff all looks good here. I'm going to go to dashboard right now. So we're going to start add our roles and features. We could also come up here to manage and do the same thing, add roles and features right here. So whichever one you prefer, you can do that one. You can do this one. It doesn't matter. Or we can do it in PowerShell, but I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to play the PowerShell game right now. We'll do that later. So I'm just going to hit skip this page by default. This just says this is for installing stuff, blah, 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 yakety smackety. We're going to go next. And we're going to do a role-based or feature-based installation. Configure a single server by adding roles, role services, and features. The other option you can do is VDI, the virtual desktop infrastructure, but we're not covering that in basics right now. So we're going to go next, and we will do role-based. And any servers that we're going to manage are going to show up right here. We have to add them to our server manager first, but then we can manage all of our servers from this one computer here. We can also put Server Manager on Windows 10 and manage all the computers from Windows 10. So I'm going to leave this as is. The other option we can also do is pre-set up virtual hard disks and install stuff on those, but we're keeping it simple today. Select a server from the server pool, the one that we're on, our only option. Here's where it gets kind of simple right here. We're doing Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS, right here. When people say, I'm creating a domain, this is what they mean. Active Directory Domain Services is creating a domain. So it's telling you it's also going to install all these features right here. It's going to install all these for this to work. Now, what this is installing RSAT, the remote server administration tools that we need for Active Directory Domain Services. So the role administrative tools, Active Directory Domain Services, and Active Directory Light Domain Services tools, Active Directory module for Windows PowerShell, so we can manage the Active Directory from PowerShell, and ADDS tools, Active Directory Administrative Center, and Active Directory Domain Services Snap-in and Command Line tools. So these are just tools that allow us to manage it. So if we're trying to manage another computer that has Active Directory Domain Services, but it's not actually installed on our computer, we can install just the tools on this computer to manage the other computer. If we don't have the tools, we can't manage it. So we need to make sure we have our RSATs installed for whatever we're trying to manage here. So I'm just going to hit add features now, but that's what all these were. I was just trying to explain what these tools actually are here, and then we'll use them later. So I'm just going to hit add features. And then I should be able just to hit next. Next. And this is just telling you a little bit extra information. We're good to go. I'm going to hit next again here. And I'm going to tell this to restart if needed. We're not going to need the restart, but I'm just make a habit of always checking that just in case. So once this is done installing right here, it's going to let us actually promote this to a domain controller. So I'm going to give this a second, and while I'm waiting for this, I'm going to go grab my stuff from in front of the house so I can drink some coffee and get all hyped up on coffee and syrup. Okay, it looks like it's done. So you see it says promote this server to a domain controller. So this is the next step after you've installed the services, you need to set them up. So I am going to close this though, just really quick, just to show you there's also a flag up here. So usually when there's more stuff you need to do, this notification up here will tell you, hey, you got more to do. So I'm gonna hit promote this server to a domain controller. I can't stir it. All right. So our very first screen on here is asking us some questions. It says, select the deployment operation. Add a domain controller to an existing domain. Add a new domain to an existing forest. Or add a new forest. Which one of these would we use, guys? We're creating everything right now. There's nothing we're adding to. Which one of these options would I use? I'll give you 5 seconds, or I'll give you a few seconds. Answer yes, no, you do know, you don't know, you should know. A new domain to an existing forest, or add a new forest. Add a next forest. You spelled forest right. Then we're going to add a new forest. We don't have a forest to add to because we don't have an existing forest. So we're going to add a new forest, which is creating our first domain controller, which also creates our forest. So right here, the root domain name, this is the name of everything. So if you go to like a website and stuff, like if I just click on here and it goes somewhere, let's break this down really quick. So these are domains, right? So you need to know the DNS, you need to know the name of a website you go to. So I'm just going to flip the usual yes, just do Google. If I can type. Probably get mad at me because I haven't turned off any of those little warning things, right? But what I want to see is this right here. So Bean is a domain. Now, if you go to like an email or something, it doesn't like it because all the security stuff is on here, and this is probably way too old. And I'm not on the internet anyway. But Bean is the domain. Technically, www is a subdomain of that domain or a child domain, technically. So we're going to be creating the main domain or the forest, and these things go backwards. So if it goes... if we were doing like contoso.com and we created a subdomain that named files domain, it'd be files.contoso.com. So child ones would be all the way to the left, and they add on to the left. So the root domain's always going to be to the right. In this case, that's bean.com. For us today, we're going to do... Who wants to pick a name for our domain? And yes, this is being recorded. We can use the one that they use all the time. We can use Contoso. I just hate using Contoso because it looks like Costco to me when I'm dyslexic. AM domain, I'll take that. So we need to put a designator at the end of this too. So unless you own the .com, you don't want to put .com there. We want to put .lan or .local at the end of this. We will do .local for this one. So this is just a designator for the domain and for the redirect and everything to know, hey, we're looking on a local, we're looking on a intranet for this. .coms can actually get hit by the internet. If it has a public IP address, we can hit this, we can hit the IIS, and we can have a web server on here and everything. So we'll use .local today. We can also do .lan, local area network. So today we'll do .local. Maybe for later we'll use the .lan one. So we're going to be AM domain .local. So I'm going to hit next here, and the next one's going to give me some prereqs and then say, hey, if you want to recover this, we need a recovery password. As soon as it gets ready. Tastes completely different when you stir up that. I feel like I'm drinking a coffee flower. All right. So, directory services restore mode. You guys might be familiar with this on Windows 10 as a safe mode. For a server, you cannot restore the directory unless it is in the safe mode to do it. So if we had an issue with the Active Directory crashing and we need to restore it, we need to restore a backup, we have to actually go into the Directory Services Restore mode, the DSRM. So we have to give that a completely different password than, well, we don't have to give one, but we have to give it a password, and password is not related to our administrator. You might also notice up here that this says Forest Functional Level, Windows Server 2016. Domain Functional Level, Windows Server 2016. Now, you might be thinking 2016, isn't our server 2019? Right? It says right here, we're 2019. Why does it say 2016? I'm confused. Well, because 2019 actually is just 2016. They're both based on Windows 10. So if we were adding this server to like an older network where the primary domain controller is like 2012 R2 or 2008 R2, then we want to make sure this can communicate with it. So we would make sure this was running at a functional level of 2012 R2. So if the services we're using don't affect the rest of the network, we could do it as 2016. If most of our network, our domain functional level, we can flip that also. So for us, our domain is just going to be 2016 because we picked 2016 up here. But if we did 2012 R2, it gives us 22 R2 option right here. So since that's not really an issue for us, we're going to see 2016. But that's so that you're backwards compatible with older ones. A way I like to do bring a new server into it and replace an old one is I bring up my Active Directory. I let it sync up in like 2012 R2. And once they both synced up, I will cease the FSMO roles on my new one. And then I will raise the functional level up to 2016 after I know it has synced up and grabbed all of the Active Directory. And then take the other Active Directory offline and see if everything's functioning properly. Once you know everything's functioning properly, then you can keep that other one offline and go send it somewhere, probably where Cybertext will buy it and give it to me for a server to use because it's end of life. But hey, you gotta take what you can get. So now that I've confused everybody, just that force functional level is like if most of our network is like 2012 R2, we want to be able to communicate with everyone. Our domain functional level is what we're gonna function as ourselves as a whole. So we're 2016, we're actually 2019, but it's actually Windows 2016. So if you're not confused, let me try harder. So I'm gonna do for the password here, server123 ! Just the one we always use. That way we just know later that it's going to be stuck in our head forever. Now, this third option right here, I didn't talk about that. So this read-only domain controller, once we actually have our domain set up, and if say we were adding this to an existing domain, read-only domain controllers are like for sites where you don't have anyone to manage it. So all it is synchronizing across the network, across the internet with your primary Active Directory, and their computer's authorized to it, but it's not actually something you can log into and modify the Active Directory from that computer. Just in case somebody walked into the server room there, sat down at the computer and started typing stuff, it's read-only. They can't change anything, so they're not going to affect your stuff. So that's the whole point of a read-only domain controller is for unmanaged sites. So like remote sites, maybe you have a couple people there, but they need to be authorized, so you put a little, a small server there, not a big corporate blade server, but just a little small tower server, and then it synchronizes with your corporate server. So that's what that read-only one is, and we'll go over that later when we say let's build a network. So I'm just gonna hit next here now that I keep on talking. We're at 27 minutes. So this is not something bad here. It just says a delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because the authoritative parent zone cannot be found. Well, we're gonna install it automatically here, so we don't need to click anything. We just leave this. This is all good to go. Sometimes this messes up, so if it does mess up, we'll install it manually, but we shouldn't have to do that. So now it's going to pick the net BIOS name. So when we're logging in the SOM, like if we did like the BOK /administrator, this is our designator for what our domain is. And this name can only be 15 characters. This is kind of like naming your computer, but this is naming the domain. So if you have like a really, really long domain name, you could just simplify it here. And this doesn't have to actually be exactly like our amdomain.local. It doesn't have to be amdomain. This could just be AD if we wanted to, or Active Directory Domain Services, because I have mine that we have running on the side here where it's blocksofknowledge.com. You don't want to type blocksofknowledge.com /administrator to log in every time, right? So I just put BOK. Now I just have to type BOK /administrator or BOK / whatever your login name is for the domain. So this right here, you can change it. So we're going to leave it default for now, but I'll show you a little bit later also where that comes into play. I'm going to hit next here. And it should tell us where it's going to save stuff? It is. So this is where everything is stored for the Active Directory. The Active Directory is just a database that manages resources, tells you where you are, who has access to them at a centralized location. So in our case, database folder is stored in Windows NTDS. Log files folders is also stored in NTDS in the Windows folder. And syst volume folder, which is the system volume for the Active Directory, is in Windows sysvol. So if you're doing an exam, just know system volume is the only one that's not in NTDS. So does anyone know where this comes from? NTDS. No. So anybody you guys remember like way back in the day before Windows 2000, we had Windows NT, which was their server stuff. Yes. So it's legacy from Windows NT. Because we had like Windows 98 and Windows NT was the operating system that was actually capable of working with a server. So Windows 98 was not supposed to be able to talk to stuff. 95, ME, none of those. When Windows 2000 came out, that was the first time they did a complete rebuild of Windows, and everything since Windows 2000 is based as everything. All the operating systems are based on the same base operating system. That's why I keep on saying that this is Windows 10. So the base operating system on this is Windows 10. It just has server software that makes it a server. So that's where the NT domain services. So this is just a legacy from the past right there. So I'm going to go next. And this is just going to say, hey, here's everything you got it set for. Are you good to go? If you want to make a script, you can go to view script right here. And this is what it's running to do everything we just told it to do. So this is something that we can create a script and we can modify a couple things, and then we could run it ourselves in PowerShell if we wanted. So we're not going to do that, but if you wanted to just look at this and understand what's going on here, you can just save it and look at it later. It's kind of cool just to see what's going on here. Again, this is a fundamentals class, so we're not going to go too in-depth into the PowerShell commands. We're going to learn the basics, and maybe we'll probably deploy a core system and just do everything from one to manage it. So I'm going to close that really quick, and I'm going to hit next. It's going to do one more pre-check to make sure that everything that it needs is on here. Sometimes you'll have a DNS problem right here where it says, oh, DNS not found. It shouldn't do that, but Windows glitches happen. So if you run into a problem, it's probably easier just to do a clean install and start over. Because if there's problems, there's gonna be major problems later. So sometimes it's just quicker to wipe and load. So we'll let this do the prereq, and then we should be able to hit install once this is good to go. So it says all prereqs check, pass successful, click install to begin. So again, don't worry about exclamation points. They're just saying, hey, did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Hey, you're good to go. I'm happy with good to go. I'm going to hit install. Now, this will restart when it's done. Everybody tracking good right now? Or confused or asleep? Like, I'm going to sleep while he's doing this. I'm going to watch the video later. Taking notes, and I know a few of you are recording at the same time as I am, so you just start flipping over to your own recording when we're done. I know. It's cool. We'll hurry up and wait. So once this restarts and everything, I'll start talking again. So I'm going to mute this for a second and enjoy my coffee a little bit here. Here we go. It's gonna flip us. They need to replace those dots with Z's. Has it been forever and a day yet? There we go. Control Alt End. All right. So you can see this says /am domain. That means this is logging into the domain right now. If I wanted to log in local, I would do /, and that'll do local to what this computer is. So, yes, whack. I'm going to log into administrator or whack whack. Yvonne hates that word, so use it all the time in his class, please. All right, so now we're logging into the first time on a real Active Directory. So this should now say, instead of work group, it should say our domain name. So let me make this full screen, and we're just going to go to local. And it's still trying to load stuff, so we don't have to wait for Knight Rider to finish up there. This thing right here. It's like, I don't know. So we're now part of domain. Active Directory. Domain services is on here, and we're a member of our own domain. So right here is your screenshot for Domania 2. Showing that you got this ready to go right here. So if you do it right, then it'll say that. Now we have tools up here. Active Directory, Administrative Center, Domains and Trusts, modules for Windows PowerShells, Active Directory Sites and Services, and Active Directory Users and Computers. This is the one where we'll play in the most in here. This is where we do organizational units, users, computers, servers are all listed in here. So if I drop this down, right here says it's a domain controller with a global catalog. DC means global catalog. That's one of those options we had already checked in there. So now when we do 2 domains equal 1, our screenshot's going to be right here. But for this one, this screenshot here, this right here being open proves that you've created it. So I can just go like this if I want. Bye-bye. Poof. Very simple, short and sweet. Screen snippet. Oh, you're in my way. Get out of my way. There we go. I already had my stuff pre-cooked over here. It's already in the oven. It was already in the oven. So whatever notes you were going to put there, notes, put your screenshot in there, hit save and move on. So that was Domania 2. This one right here, Domania 2. You guys want me to upload that? I can upload it if you want. Put it in here as an example. All right. You now have my example right there. I spelled it wrong. I did. I didn't put... No, did I? D-O-M-A-N-I. D-O... Yeah, I missed an I right there. My bad. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. Sean special. It's always been correct right there. It has never been wrong. Okay? Never. You never saw that wrong right there. It's always been perfect. I don't make mistakes. I am not human. I'm a robot. Okay? Gotta make sure the example's correct, right? Is it a big deal? No. But it's a deal. Did I break it? Did I go too quick? I guess we'll find out the fun way. Sean broke it. If anyone's going to break it, it's going to be me. All right, let's not hit submit this quick. It's right there. It's right there. I think we're good now. I think we're good now. All right. Now stuff's spelled correctly. We're good to go. All right. On to the next one. We need to finish all these today. All right, so that was just Domania 2. I know it seems pretty simple. Now we're going to do mic check anyone there. So I think I think this one is actually supposed to be right here. That makes more sense. All right. So we're going to switch it up do-si-do. Yes, I don't have an example there either. Awesome. Cool. So just so Sean spells stuff right later, we're going to do this, okay? We're going to copy that. We're going to come over here to this one really quick, and we're just going to get this ready again. I'm just going to go file save as, because I'm going to cheat. This is going to have some weird formatting on it, so if I just come over here and paste it, it'll paste as plain text. Paste. I don't know if it'll keep that in there. We'll find out. Looks like it does. All right. Take that. Paste on top. See how it took the formatting. There we go. All right, so switch it up, do-si-do. Let's have some fun here. So it's switch it up, do-si-do, because right now we're on an external Ethernet, right? We're on external. So if we come up to here, we create an external one on settings, and we're on a live network right now. It's on the Intel. We're all in the public. If I had a gateway set up, we'd have internet. But we don't want to do that because we're going to eventually do a DHCP. And if every single one of you have a DHCP, you're going to give everyone on the network a DHCP that's not going to give them internet or anything. It's just everyone's going to get a random IP address. So we're going to want to change it so that we're on a private network or on a, what's the other option, guys? What's the other option? Internal. All right. So external means we're live on the outside network. We can see everything. Internal means we can only communicate with the host. So this computer here, us, this one, the host, can talk to the virtual machines. It has its own network card attached just to them, and they can talk to them. So technically on this computer here, we could set it up as the gateway or like a DMZ, and then use NAT and send internet into our internal network if we wanted to. But for now, we're going to do, we'll do an internal one for now, just so we can see that, okay? So I'm going to do an internal. I'm on new, internal. So just so you guys see, I went to our Hyper-V manager right here, went to virtual switch manager here. We're going to say new, and let's make an internal one for now. I'm going to hit OK, and I didn't name it, so that was special of me. I don't think I even created it, so internal, create virtual switch. All right, there we go. Internal, did I spell it right? It don't matter. Internal, good to go. It says it's an internal network. Apply. So we now have one that says internal only. So to switch this over, we don't want to come in the settings and flip this when it's running. We don't want to come in here, click this, and just change it, because it can break it, especially that this has a domain controller on it. It has a bad habit of breaking. So you always want to shut the server down properly, switch the hardware, and then turn it back on. If you switch it without doing that, you have a very highly likely case of causing a 169 to be stuck permanently on your network card. You understand? And no matter what we do, if we delete it, put it back on there, it's always going to have a 169 and it's going to be broken permanently, and you're going to have to make your machine completely over because of it. It's a glitch that we know happens, and we're just trying to prevent it. So I'm going to just go to here, and I'm going to shut this down properly, and it's going to say, why are you turning me off? It's a server. You're not supposed to turn them off without a reason. I'm going to say other planned and continue. So remember, don't change the network card unless it is turned off. The machine that you're changing it on must be turned off. There's already a good chance when this turns on too that I'm going to have to reset the adapter anyway. So I'm going to come up to settings now, and I'm going to go to my network adapter right here, network adapter, and I'm just going to flip this to the one we just created, our internal virtual switch. So I'm going to hit apply on that, and then OK. Now I should be able to turn it on, and now I'm on a network that this computer can see and whoever's attached to that internal one can see. So if I look at my computer here, open network and internet settings really quick here on it, go to adapter, you're going to see there's another adapter on here. So there's this unidentified one. It says internal virtual switch. That's how we're communicating with that. So if we want to be on the network of that computer, we're going to have to give ourselves a static IP, or we're going to have to wait till we have a dhcp to give our computer an IP address on that network. Right now, it should have a 169 on it. So see right here, I have a PIPA. I have a belly, right? I have a PIPA. You guys corrected me. A PIPA wasn't a pregnant belly. It was just a belly. Thank you for correcting me on that. But we have a PIPA right there. So once we have a DHCP, it will get an IP address, and then this can ping and talk to stuff on that network. Right now we're on a PIPA, so we can talk to anyone else within a PIPA with a 169.254, because only these are available. We can't talk to anything that doesn't have these same numbers as us right here. So that's what that's locking. That 255 is locking our network to that. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. So we were on our external switch right here. Is what our computer is actually going through that, and our virtual machines are going through that. And they're just sharing, this one's getting shared and mounted. So if we actually looked at our real Ethernet, it's going to say it's sending stuff, but it doesn't actually have IPv4 on it because it's sharing everything. So it doesn't show any network connection details at all. So, because this is actually handling it right here. This one right here is handling everything. You see stuff's coming and going. It says 1 gigabit, hit details. It's telling us, hey, 192.168.0.147. And I've got it set up with a class A subnet mask. So we have free reigns of stuff in here. So, but my DHCP will only hand out in 192.168. So we can set stuff up outside of that range and be safe for statics. All right. So I'm going to close that, and let's get back in our machine. I know I'm sidetracking a little bit there, but we'll cover that some more. So Control-Alt-End, right? That'll give us our happy wave in the air. Let us in, maybe. You. Do you need a Hallmark card? Here. All right, let's log back in. Now, I might know right now if there's an issue or not if that doesn't say our thing. It says internet for some reason. It doesn't have internet, but it says internet. It should say AM domain .local. That's what it should say on the network. If it says unknown, which is probably going to say every time you restart one of these Hyper-Vs with a domain on it, for some reason it breaks that NIC card every freaking time. See, it says unidentified network. We are the domain controller. It should be talking to us. So I'm going through my checklist every time I restart a computer. Is this right? Well, it's not. That's not what I'm expecting it to say. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use local just to go to my NIC card really quick. So when you see unknown, when you know it should say something else, just come to your NIC card, disable it, and enable it, and it should say what it's supposed to say. It should say the domain name right here where it says identifying. It should give us our domain name right there. See? That's what we're expecting. am-domain.local. So if it's not saying that, and I know it should say that, every time I restart it, I'm checking that. Because if that's not saying the right thing there, I'm not going to be able to ping and talk to another computer. So switch it up, do-si-do, is us changing the switch. Now, if we're on private, we wouldn't be able to talk from our host here. So if I put my host on the same network as this on a 10, pretty much on a class A, I'll be able to talk to this. So if I flip it over to a 10, I can ping this computer. So let's do that really quick. Again, the whole point of this is trying to explain stuff and show you some stuff that you guys learned in Network Plus and actually apply it and see cause and effect. So if there's something else you'd like to see me do at this point, let me know. I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to flip that NIC card really quick so that we can have fun with it. And again, ping stuff, trace route. These are your basic tools of the trade. These are the basic questions they are going to ask you if you're interviewing for a job. You're going to say, oh, I have a certification. Like, I don't care. What do you use IP config for? You have a 169 IP address. What should your first step be? And they want to hear your troubleshooting. What would you check first? They don't care if you have a cert because they know people can brain dump certifications. They want to know, can you do the job? I mean, if any of you were in the Army and you did it, you know about the handing out the answers to brain dumps, and the people just go and get their certs and they don't know how to do the damn job, right? How many people you knew people had jobs in the Army and they didn't know how to do them in IT? Not many. I had one student come in, well, I have all these certs, and man, they didn't know what a PIPA was. And yeah. All right, so I'm going to set up a static IP on the internal network really quick. So we know we've got class A, right? And we've only used 10.10.10.1. So I told you I want to do workstations on 10.10.1.1. So 10.10.1. Whatever issues I issue out. Like I issued you guys IP addresses when we did the Windows 10, the hands-on final. And the one right before that, I said, hey, this number next to you is the last octet. So for me, when I build networks, I like to break them down. I like using Class A because I can assign each one of these. So I have my 10 right here, right? But say I can assign this one. This is building 1. This is building 2. This is Texas. This is Alaska. So when I see that on the network, I know by just looking at the IP address where that computer lives. So I can break it down classroom. I can break it up location. It just helps me. So for our case, I'm just leaving it as 10. But for over here, I'm going to leave it 1. I put servers on 10, but I'm going to put workstations on 1. And then we would just keep track of who we issued this out. So for real workstations, we'd probably use dacp to issue this out within a certain scope. The scope is just, between this octet and that octet, we're going to issue out IP addresses. And outside of that, we can reserve stuff using DHCP, or we can just leave outside that scope and set static IPs at the machine. There's many ways we can do it. We can reserve with MAC address. It's whichever way is easiest for you to do the job. And again, you might want to know every way that people are doing this, because you're going to be handed someone else's shit pile. It's very unlikely that you're going to get on a network and start from scratch and build it. When you go into the field, you're just going to be handed, hey, go in here and clean this up. Clean up the Active Directory. Clean up the GPOs. And you're going to be like, who the heck did this? So when I click in subnet mask, it auto-fills in my subnet mask with 255. And we should remember 255 just means we're using all of these octets, right? We have all 8 bits right here being used, and we're locked to 10. So anything that's like 11, 12, 13, if it's not 10 right here, we can't talk to it. So if I did IP config on my computer and I'm on the other one and I'm trying to talk to this one from that one, and when I do IP config, it says 192.168, and I'm still like, why can't I talk with this computer? It's because I'm on the wrong network. This is my network right here. Network, and then broadcast would be the .1 at the end of here, or the 256 is at the very end. So we don't need a gateway. Now the gateway is if we're trying to get outside our network. We don't have that right now. We don't need to. We're not using internet. We're not doing that right now. And our preferred DNS server. Who remembers what our DNS server was? As I sip on my coffee. That's what we put for our DNS server, but that's local loopback. So how's this computer going to talk to that server and talk to that computer's DNS? What was our IP address on our server? Exactly. 10.10.10.1. If I don't put that, I won't be able to talk to that computer. So I'm going to put, and now later on, we're going to have 10.10.10.2 when we do our second domain controller. That's in case we need to take one controller offline and do updates. We have redundancy with the second one running. You need a bare minimum of 2. But you're going to put a domain controller pretty much at every single location where you need authentication at. And we'll go more into that when we go to Let's Build a Network. I actually really enjoy doing the server classes because I actually get to see stuff function, work, and move stuff around and break it and show you guys. So just let me know if I'm talking too much or whatever, but hopefully you guys are getting something out of this. I'm going to go 10.10.10 because I reserved 10 for my servers, and then .1. Now, the other one's going to be 10.10.10.2. It doesn't exist yet, but I know I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to fill it in here. At this point, if everything works correctly, I could actually join that domain right now if I wanted to. So, and I always like to, after I do something, I like to disable and just re-enable it just because I'm freaking paranoid. It's just, this is going to say unidentified network unless you're actually domain joined. If everything works correctly, I should be able to ping that now. If we don't have any freakishly broken virtual network cards like we did on our Windows 10 machines. Because I still don't know what caused that, but it was odd that it happened to everybody at the same time. And it didn't break my workstations, so I'm not sure what happened there. But welcome to Microsoft. So I'm going to do my good old friend PowerShell over here. This looks like he's running good too. So, and I'm going to do an IP config and just make sure I don't have any 169s sitting in here. So this is going to show me I have 2 network cards, right? I have my external one and my internal one. I'm looking at my internal one right here. It says internal virtual switch, and it's 10.10.1.1. That's my IP address, my subnet's 255. And again, if I wanted all the information, I would /all it. And if I wanted to print that, I could do caret and then to the text file name I want to name it. Probably prefer, and probably whatever location I want to save that as, or it'll save it where I'm sitting. So this tells, it looks like I'm good. My DNS is right here. It's got my IPv6. Everything looks good. Let's see. Can I ping it? 10.10.10.1. Look at that. I got communication to it. Can I talk the other direction? Let me go inside my virtual machine and see. Now, I know this is a virtual machine, what we call this. This is our host. This is our host, and our host is going to be talking to our virtual machine here. So I'm just going to double click that and make it pop it up. Okay, or not. So back in here, I should be able to talk to that. Remember, I reserved .1.1. So .10.10.1, the third octet, I did .1s for my workstation. So I should be able to talk that direction also. Now, if I don't have network discovery turned on, it might have some issues. So I was able to talk one direction, but I'm not talking the other. So we usually try to make sure we go over here, right? We went to network and see this right here? Network discovery is off. Remember how that caused a problem on other stuff when we're doing Windows 10, right? I just turned on network discovery. Give it a second. I'm going to see if that fixed my ping. It may or may not have fixed it. And then I'm going to turn it on the other computer too. It may or may not be on this one. It should be on it. And it also might not talk to it because it's not on the domain. And this is the actual domain computer here. But we were able to talk the other direction. So we can just let's try to send one more to it. And it says no dice. That's okay, though. We were able to talk the other direction. So I'm happy with that for now. I don't want to play with it too much because it might break. So again, we did do it from this direction though here, right? We went from here. We talked to 10.10.10.1 right there, and we had communication. Now, if I trace route that, oh, I forgot something in there. Didn't I? Maybe not. It should show us our hops if I typed it right. And it did come back with the name. So it says AMPM DC1 SLS. So we are talking in that direction. That's good. For some reason, this one doesn't want to talk back to it, but it's probably just ping or something. It's not set to respond. So I'm not going to play with it too much because it's not very important. I'm going to close it, but we did talk to it. I do have verified my communication, AMPM DC1 SLS, so I'm good to go on there. The other thing that can cause issues, because I do have two network cards on this computer here, is that the DNS might be showing the other IP address and not responding. So that tends to happen sometimes. You gotta go in there and hard set stuff in the DNS. But looks like we're good to go because it was showing the server name and everything. So if I needed to have that computer join this one's domain, I could do it. So again, right here was one screenshot. Now we just switch it up. So to verify that we did the switch it up do-si-do, we just need to show that we made it, right? We need to show that we switched it to it. So we go to settings here. We go to the network adapter. It says internal virtual switch. And if I just want to make sure that Sean's not going to be a jerk to me and say, that's the wrong screenshot, I can also open up the virtual switch manager right next to it. Right? And now I can just come over here, take my screen snip. My screenshots, I just want, proof that you did what I asked you to do. That's it. Proof that you did it. So I got that. I can come over here now. I already had it pre-cooked, right? And that's proof. Switch it up, do-si-do. We changed it. Now we could also do private, but private just means my host won't be able to talk to it. So I can put all of my Hyper-Vs on a private one, and they won't have any external network. They can only talk to each other. So a way we can simulate a network is we can have one computer that has an external card and an internal card, and treat that one like a router where it can use NAT and redirect internet from the external to the internal, and it'll act like a DMZ. And from there, you can just reshuffle around port numbers so that people don't know the port numbers that you're actually using on your side of the network. So you're not using default port numbers for everything. So it's a little bit harder for them to hack when they're sitting out there using Wireshark to sniff out your network. So I'm going to hit save on this. I know this one's saved correctly because I cut and paste it, right? Switch it up, do-si-do. And let's just upload this for an example too, just to make you guys feel better. Switch it up, do-si-do. We only have 3 more to do. 3 more. We're going to finish these and then it's going to be yours. Come on. I clicked on you. Be nice. Be kind. Rewind. Did you see that news where somebody didn't return a VHS and they have a felony on their record for not returning a VHS 25 years ago? 20? Yeah. That's crazy. And they don't even remember renting it? All right. They need to pay for their failures. Switch it up, do-si-do. Open. When I go back and watch these videos, it's like I talk too much. But when we're doing this, it's like I need to fill in the space, you know? The waiting time. I spelled do-si wrong, but I don't care. Everyone else can be dyslexic like me. It's probably not even a word, is it? Do-si-do? I just try to have dumb names to help you guys remember what we're doing. All right, so that was a good spot to move, switch it up, do-si-do. So mic check, anyone there? We kind of just did that, but we want to do that for 2 domains equal 1. But prior to this, we're going to start making domain 2. So we're going to do another domain controller off of our parent image. This is where we start saving space. The reason why we're making that, because we need to make sure that one can talk to the DC1 controller that we just made. But we have to start it off on an external network to activate, right? Some of you did your Windows 10 stuff and did it right on a private network, and they kept restarting on you. Or you did the stuff right now and they kept restarting on you after each hour because you didn't activate the Windows. If it's not activated, it's going to restart on you and say that the evaluation period has expired. We want to not expire while you're in class because I don't know. I'm not good at cleaning up. I can't afford that service. So let's do it. I'm going to minimize that. I'm not going to pre-cook it this time. We know that's all good to go. I'm going to close that and close that. I didn't make any changes. So we have DC1. So we're going to do DC2 now. DC2. I'm going to go a little bit faster because we should know how to do this by now. Says the guy on the other end. All right, I'm going to go next. We're going to just call this DC2. Make it simple. Next. Generation 2. Next. 4096, because I like 4096. It seems like a good flat number for everything. I'm not going to use dynamic just because I don't want to. I'm going to hit next. And then again, I come over here to the Intel one. The Intel one is my external. So I don't care about this because I'm not using it, right? I don't care about this because I'm not using it. I'm using this. But hold it. I'm gonna steal that right now. There we go. That's Porky the Pig right there, right? All right, so I've created it. I didn't attach a hard drive because I'm using my parent image. I'm going to come in the settings on DC2. I'm going to go to my SCSI controller. I'm going to say add a hard drive. I'm going to say new, option 3, next. I cheated, and I'm going to right click paste, go next, browse, parent image, open. I know I'm going fast, finish, and I have it. And then we just got to remember, apply, and then come up to firmware, boot order, hard drive, move that buddy up there, and everything else should be good to go. Apply and OK. So we have different ways that we can install server, right? We have a GUI and we have a core. Guess what we're doing this time? Core. So I used to have an exercise I called hardcore, but someone complained about it. Had to rename it. Softcore. So that's running. I should connect to it. So because we pre-cooked it, everything should be good to go. It's like it's already been installed. So I probably just lied to you guys too, but we are going to do core after this one. So because our image that we installed wasn't a core image. So what I used to do when we were doing 2012 R2 is I could take this down the core and then bring it back up and put it in the minimal, but they got rid of that in 2016. You can't do that. You have to pick it in the beginning. So my bad. I just lied to you. But we'll set this one up normal, and then we'll add a third one, and we'll set that core one up like it's a read-only domain controller. We'll do that in setting up our domain. So I just thought about that. I was like, oh, crap. I can't do it because, yeah, we already installed this as a GUI one. It's ooey gooey.
One is enough sometimes.
What? My phone is just randomly talking to me right now. Yep, the core one, when you log into it, it's just going to start straight up command prompt when you get into it. And we're going to use sconfig to configure it. And we're going to go through the same checklist. We'll do that after we set up DC2, though. So the day's probably going to be an all instruction day, and people are like, this video is too long. I'm like, there's a fast forward. Just don't skip. Core goes a lot faster anyway. The reason why we use core is because it's got less of an attack surface on it. Most of your exploits are in GUIs and stuff. So you get rid of 90% of the issues, it makes it harder to attack them. So we'll just hit next here. It's going to ask us administrator. And we're going to set this up really fast, guys. All right. So we're doing pretty much 2 domains equal 1 and not knock anyone there. Or mic check. I forgot what it was. One of those. Oh, I'm waiting for that to do that. Yes, mic check. My bad. So I'll get mic check ready while that thing's doing its initial load. Goodbye. File. Save as. Pick one. I don't know why I did that. I already had one. And then so I don't get that format, I'm going to copy that. Control C. Did I break you? What just happened here? Oh, the question marks. All right, there we go. All right, that's ready to go. All right, checklist, guys. What's on my checklist? I'm going to log in. You can see right here, I have network, and I don't see anything weird. Yes. So network, is the network what I want it to be? Time, am I activated? Is remote desktop on? Is remote management enabled? Now network, are we who we want to be on the network? Do we have our static IP address, or do we have dhcp? One of these is not like the other. All right. It says network. Click yes. So network and internet, that's good. Now, where the heck is my... There it is. I'm activated. My time is wrong though, but I'm activated. So we saw that before this loaded. Now we can also see everything in here too under local. Configure this. Remember, if this Night Rider is not done, you'll see this little thing sliding back and forth. Then sometimes it'll have issues when you click on stuff. It's just waiting for it to load all this stuff that it needs to know in here. So from right to left, we are activated. Time is wrong. Time zone is wrong. We'll fix that. All right. Okay. Coming up here, enhanced doesn't matter. Our updates, we're going to turn those off. We're going to come down to advanced, and then we're going to pause them. And then we're going to go home. Yep, metered connection. I'm going to network and internet right here. I'm going to click on Ethernet right here. I'm going to click on this one, and that's going to give me right here to set as metered. Turn that puppy on, just so we don't get put in update hell. And we've taken care of our updates. Is what we wanted. Again, in production, we probably want to run updates, so we're going to set up the WASU. So our WASU is already set up. That's what we're going to go over when we do Let's Build a Network. So coming on over here, our IP address. So we actually are going to set up our static. We know what it is because we pre-planned this, right? So we were 10.10.10.2, right? At least that was our plan. 10.10.10.2. And now I'm going to click here and it's going to say Class A. We didn't set up a default gateway. And our preferred DNS is going to be DC1. For now, this will flip, but we will do 10.10.10.1 so it can talk to DC1. We're going to talk to ourselves for the second one. Now, once we set up a domain controller on this, then it will flip these both around and talk to itself first and sync up with the other DNS and talk. But for now, we're just going to do this. So we're going to do our loop back right here, the 127.0.0.1. And that's where we're going to leave it. That's going to be good to go. I'm going to say OK, and then OK here. And then I'm just going to close that and hit refresh. And I'm just verifying, is that what I put in here? That's what I put in here. All right, remote desktop. Let's turn that on really quick. It's supposed to let us do enhanced session with this, but apparently it doesn't want to flip it. And we just double check and make sure this is enabled, because sometimes that's not checked when you go into it. And then our computer name. We're free to change our computer name now, because we're going to have to flip a reset anyway. So mine, we were doing AM, PM, SLS, DC2. I believe that's correct, right? Or something like that. And I'm going to go OK. DC2, then the name. Oh, we can fix that. All right, I'm going to close it and let this restart on me really quick. All right. Now, right now, if I try to talk to DC1, is it going to work? Actually, should it work? Not is it going to work, because we'll see what this computer actually decides to do for me. All right, I'm switching over to Chai Tea now. Ooh-wee. Anyone else? Predictions? Anyone? Oh, you're so cute, computer. Oh, look at you take a Control-Alt-End. Ah. You guys remember Switch It Up, Do-Si-Do, right? What did we do? No. We did, but what was the actual task we did in Switch It Up, Do-Si-Do? Well, if I try to ping 10.10.10.1, it's not going to work. Why is this not working? Exactly. We flipped over to the internal switch, which is pretty much layer 1, our physical layer of the OSI layer. So we're on the wrong network. We're plugged into the wrong router right now. So I have to shut this down properly in order to change that. Because if I change it now, it might flip a 169. And this will say 10.10.10.2, but it'll also say 169 stuck in here also underneath it, which it'll come in one direction and try to go out the other direction. So it's no good. So let me shut this down properly. And again, it doesn't like being shut down. It's a server. So yes, I'm planning it. And then continue. So that's why if you run into that and your numbers look correctly, make sure you're on the right switch. Because if you're on the wrong switch, it's like you're not plugged in at all. So I'm going to come up here to settings. I'm going to come over to network adapter. And I'm just going to flip this over to my internal virtual switch and hit apply. And I'm going to start it up. Now, again, when you turn off virtual machines and turn them back on when they have servers running on them, there's a good chance it might break that network card anyway. It especially does it when you have a domain controller installed on it. I don't know why that is, but I know it happens. All right, let's get in here. Boom. Oh, I think I just realized why the enhanced desktop thing ain't working. Hey. I gotta turn it on the server side. All right. So now I'm in, and I should be on the right network now. And if it doesn't work, because I'm expecting this to say unidentified anyway, so that's not an indicator that that's not working. I'm expecting that either direction right now. But we're going to ping. We're going to mic check. All right, so let's see. Can we ping 10.10.10.1? Now we have communication. That's exactly what we want, right? Now we're talking. So that would be our indicator. Hey, we can proceed to the next step. We can talk. Let's see if we can talk the other direction. Maybe that computer just doesn't like to talk at all. So let's find out if we can talk the other direction here. So we're going to flip over to DC1. It kicked me out of it. Let's get back into here. All right, and we're going to try to mic check that computer right now. Are you just grumpy? Are you just grumpy, computer? Is that your issue? It should work. Why are you being grumpy, computer? Oh, awesome. I'll go this way then. I'll go this way. I understand. You have issues. It's okay. We'll work around those issues. Maybe you need some therapy too, computer. Would you like to talk to a Mac? I heard an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Huh. We'll try the name. So Control Z will end that. I'm going to try to ping it by its name and see if it's happy on that direction here. So we did AM-PM-DC2-SLS. All right, that came back. All right. It's the IPv6 that's doing it. The IPv6 is causing the issue. You see that? It says, hey, we're pinging it, and here's the name, DC2. It just got mad. All right, so we know it's working the other direction, so we're gonna run with it. So what I want you guys to do for your screenshot is I want to see on your DC2 that the ping works on DC2. And I can ping that by the IP, by the name also of that, and it should work. So if I said AM-PM-DC1-SLS, it comes back. So that shows that this computer has communication with that computer, and we should be good to go. So I will accept this screenshot right here. Let me just grab that really quick. I would prefer to have them working on both. If it works on DC1 and shows it correctly, then go ahead and just put them side by side and submit that. But since mine's acting stupid, I really just need to know this one's talking to it. And then I'll try to figure out what's going on with that other one, because it should work. But since this is a demonstration, things ain't going to work just because it's a demonstration, right? And just like that didn't actually take my screenshot right there. Hey, take a screenshot. Thank you. There we go. Mic check. Anyone there? All right, I'm going to save it. And if you do it and you follow the video, then this screenshot makes sense to you, right? I saved that, and just for us, for our purposes, I'll upload that as an example too. We're almost done. 2 domains equal 1. students would like to get working today. They would. They'd love it. They'd appreciate it. Wait for it. All right. Submit. All right. Wait for it. All right. Save. Cool. All right. So our next one. 2 domains equal 1, correct? You guys probably, like, these names probably were stupid to you guys. Like, what the hell is this? What are these names before? All right, let's go in here. In here. All right, save as. Sean's cray cray. You are what you eat, and I love crawfish. Copy that. Save that. Why did you highlight the whole line? I just want that. There we go. You, delete. You, save. All right, good to go. Back to work. 2 domains equal 1. We are on 2 domains equal 1. All right. Going to DC2. So now that we've established communication at least one way, we can talk from this one. Some reason the other one's acting stupid. But hey, we're used to that, right? We all act stupid every now and then. So let's see if that's going to cause us a problem. So if I wanted to troubleshoot that, I'd probably restart it and then see if it was still doing it. So I know this is what I was looking for on this end. So if I wasn't on the other computer right now, I wouldn't know there's an issue on that other computer. So I should be good to go. So to make this easy, I want to domain join this first. I could do without domain joining it, but if I domain join it, it's going to be easier to set up. So I'm going to go to local server. It's the same as the configure. And where it says work group, I want to join that domain. So I'm going to click on this, and we're going to do this exactly like we did it when we did this on our Windows 10. We're just going to come down to change, and we're going to join the domain right here. So the domain was AM domain, right? Now, food for thought, we could put .local, or we could just leave it without the dot, and it'll work. If I just do it like that, it's going to pop up for my credentials. Remember, it's just administrator. We're just doing administrator. Hopefully I typed it right. Administrator is one of those words, if you stop typing it halfway through, it's like, how do I spell it? And you have to just delete and start over. It's like, okay, kids, don't make me turn this word around. Hopefully we say, hey, welcome to AM domain. Click OK to restart. Doing it this way, when we go to set up stuff, now we're already on it, and we should be good to go. If we get an error message, then we're going to have to mess around with DC1. But it seemed like we were receiving stuff, so it looks like we're good. So it says, welcome to the AM domain, and we're good to go. We were using the exclamation on this one because we set it up, so we did use the exclamation point on this one. So whatever you set up your password for when you set up the other computer, that's what we're using here. So now that this is on it, we could manage this from the other computer. But we're going to do it on this one, and we'll do the remote management with the core one that we set up later. Control end. All right. So right here it says administrator, but this is local. This is a local account. It doesn't say domain. So we want to click on other. And now it says AM domain. Sign into AM domain. So we only have administrator on that, right? But this is gonna be mean to you. So if I type it, see what happens when I hit the R? It flips it to local. Annoying, right? So we can say at AM domain, and that'll log us into the domain. Or in the very beginning, remember that net BIOS name? We can type that in the front of it and whack it. And that'll use our administrator domain credentials. So we need to know the difference between our local accounts and our domain accounts. Because they might have the same names, and we need the catch. This is what I am actually signing into right here. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to do my server 123 at, I can't type, exclamation point. I got to do it all in one flow or else I mess up. That's why I have to raise the toilet seat, guys. Need to get one of those rubber duckies and work on my aim. All right. So now it's creating an account for the administrator from the domain on this computer. So it's one of those, we're getting everything ready, but except on a server, it doesn't tell you that. It just does it. All right. Now, if this says unknown network on the net card down there, we have a broken card. It should now say domain right here. And it does say, it says amdomain.local. So we're good. Now, as soon as we put a domain controller on there, we're not going to be good. Every time we restart it, that's going to break. You might have 1 out of 100 that it doesn't break. You might get lucky. And again, this is stuff that's not in the books or anything, but if you're in the field, Hyper-V sucks. Tell them you need to use VMware or something. Unless that's how you keep a job. Like, I'm going to keep using something that no one else can fix. All right. So now that we got that, let's put our Active Directory Domain Services tools on here and ready to go. So we can do the add roles and features because we should be good to go now. We're on the domain. And just to verify we're on the domain, I can close this really quick. We can go to local server. And it says right here, this should flip from work group to domain. Look at that. Domain. We're good. So far, we're good. Doesn't mean we're 100% good, but we're good. All right. So we'll go to the dashboard and we'll just do this by the numbers. We'll do add roles and features. So this is 2 domains equal 1. So we need to have 2 domain controllers per domain minimum. Don't confuse those 2 domain controllers as 2 separate domains. They're working as 1 unit, which is why we have a primary and a secondary DNS. We import the one or the other if one goes down. So I'm going to hit next here. I'm going to go a little bit faster, the same as before, but this is picking us now. This is our computer that we're on. Active Directory Domain Services, option 2 right there. Add features. And I'm just going to next my way through this and hit restart if needed. It's not going to need the restart, but again, that's my habit is I like that click box. I like to check it. Checks and balances. Then we're going to wait forever and a day again. So this is exactly what we did before, but this time when we promote to a domain controller, which option we're going to use? We had 3 options. One was add Active Directory to an existing forest. One was add a domain controller to an existing domain. And the other one was a new forest, right? Which one do we want to do? Furby's got it. Add a domain controller to an existing domain. I just like saying your last name. I'm sorry, sir. I always got Spangler like Ghostbusters, so. Come on. Hopefully we're learning something today. I should take the time and speed up every single one of these load screens for you guys. I'll probably do that before I upload. Here's the funny thing. We can use Zoom, and we can actually live stream Zoom through YouTube. So it would actually be done when we were done. But I'm pretty sure someone would have a violation or something, a privacy violation or something, putting you guys online. So unless we had like a waiver, hey everybody, do you care if your name in a chat is online? Yeah, we definitely. I definitely get fired again. I fire myself every day. All right, so again, we have promote this server, right? So I'm gonna hit. Actually, I'm just gonna click from it this time because you've already seen that there's that flag behind it right there. There's this notification, but we can go to it from right here too. And it's weird because all these different things you install have different things you got to do before you go into them. There's no consistency with Microsoft. So you see the first one: add a domain controller to an existing domain. 2 domains equal 1. Existing domain. So we're going to add this to an existing domain. And since we are already logged into that domain, because we joined that domain, my credentials have already been entered for me. So I'm just going to hit next. I don't have to play the whole find it game. I'm going to go next. Cross my fingers and hope she's talking properly. And she is. Now you see here, I now have the read-only option here. Now that was grayed out before. It's not going to be grayed out this time. I could make this a read-only domain controller. See? We'll do that to our when we do the other computer, the core one. So here, if I had lots of domain controllers of where I had different domains and subdomains, child domains, I could pick which one I want to actually replicate from right here. We only have one, so we only have one option here. And this is just, again, for our recovery on this computer. If something went wrong and we needed to restore the Active Directory on this computer, we would come into the safe mode, put in the DSRM password, and go in there and recover our backups. So we're just going to use our standard server 123 at exclamation point because that's what's been etched in our brain. And every time you type server, I hope you're typing it wrong like I do and use a 3 instead of an E. All right. Are you mad at me? Hey, I would like that button to be opened up, buddy. That button right there. Did I type it wrong? Let's try it. Let's see. That's what it was. I typed it wrong up there. All right. Let's go next. Again, just like before, this isn't a something's wrong. Expect it. Expect it. This doesn't mean anything. It's just there. Bypass. Next. Now, we could have all our information on a USB to make our job easier, but we're going to replicate across the network. This might not be a good thing if your replication is in a different location and you have slow internet. You'd probably be better to have media do it and then it can replicate later and sync up. So here we can say any domain controller, it'll look around and whoever it sees, it'll grab it from, or you can pick one that's the closest. You always want to pick the closest domain controller to your location, or at least the fastest connection. Might not be the same thing, but whichever one it can replicate the fastest from, that's what you want. Now you'll find when you're working in the field and you're doing call centers that you're going to want to find the closest domain server to the person whose password you want to reset, because it will take forever for it to replicate across all the Active Directories that you have on your network if you're in a big corporation. So you want to find the Active Directory domain controller, the server that's closest to the location that you're resetting it on, so that that person doesn't have to wait forever and a day to log in for that password to resync up for them. So in our case, we're just going to pick this. We could leave it on any. It doesn't matter. We only have one to replicate from, but I'm going to just pick it. And I'm going to hit next. Same as before. This is just where it's saving stuff locally on here for the Active Directory database. And it's literally just copying everything from the other Active Directory and cloning it over here. And then they're just going to keep syncing up with each other when you make changes. So we got the script, we have everything. The script looks a little bit different, but not a whole lot. It's just telling us that we're replicating where we're getting everything from. Create DNS delegation false, so we're good. Hopefully when we hit next, our pre-check works. We will cross our fingers. Yay! We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. That was quick. And we're just going to say install. Now, the reason why I can't do the enhanced session, why this wasn't resizing or giving me the option, is I probably don't have it turned on the Hyper-V side. So I should be able to come up the view and say enhanced session. But I can't because I forgot that step. Remember a long time ago when we came into right here and we went to Hyper-V settings? Right here, enhanced session if available, and right here, allow enhanced session mode. I didn't check that yet. So if I click that and hit apply, it's now going to give me the options to do that in my machine here. So this right here now, if I restart it, it's going to give me that. So, and we know it's going to restart right now. So as soon as this is done replicating the schema, it's going to be good to go. And I should be able to enhanced. Yes, and remote desktop needs to be on for it to work. You are correct, Lewis. It's a remote desktop connection. And why? Because remote desktop connections, you can actually give yourself more abilities. You can attach USB drives from your location, and they show up like they're attached on that computer, wherever that computer is. So we can do the same thing with VMware too. So your VM machine, you can plug in a USB into your computer at your home, and you can actually save stuff to that USB from your virtual machine in VMware that's at my house here. If you wanted to get stuff off of it, you just have to attach it through the VM. So when you go to the top, it gives you options to attach external devices to it. So we're about to restart here. And hopefully when it does restart, we're going to have enhanced session this time, because I like having full screen. And remember, enhanced sessions doesn't work for users unless you make them a member of the remote desktop group. And regular users can't log on to servers with domain controllers on them. Only administrators can. So if you remember Jane Doe and John Doe that we made in Windows 10, they wouldn't be able to log on to this because we only made them regular. There we go. There's our enhanced session right there. It's now happy. Well, it's not happy. It's our server here, but it's better than it was. We'll make that full screen. Wakey, wakey, computer. Thank you. All right, now it says AM domain administrator because that's when I've logged in, and I'm going to log into that right now. We're about to grab the screenshot that we want. Come on, resize. Resize, please. Give me a real full screen. That's better than what it was before. I'll take it. Better than nothing, right? All right, let's go get our screenshot while we're in here. Boom. So I bet this works. Yeah, that works now. Stupid thing. Can I snap it? Yeah, now I can snap it. Boom. Ain't that cute? It's cute. Go away. All right, I'm going to go to Tools. Now, remember I told you when we did the first one, Domania 2, we were going to take a screenshot in a certain spot. So we're going to go to Active Directory Users and Computers on our DC2. Because A, I'm going to look for this. That's proof that you're on the right computer. And then that we actually have 2 domain controllers in our Active Directory Users and Computers. So I'm going to drop down this amdomain.local right here. And I'm going to go to Domain Controllers. And that's going to show I have 2 domain controllers and they're named appropriately. Because someone corrected me and made me do it right. Thank you. I appreciate it. So right here it proves I have 2 domains equal 1. Which is 2 domains equal 1. Which means 2 domain controllers equal 1 domain. So I have a stupid naming scheme, but hopefully it helps. Or at least it makes sense. I'm going to full screenshot this. Boom. Come over here. Enter. Control V. And then I'm going to save it. Because I already renamed it up there. Yep. Save it. So pretty simple stuff, right? I'm not having you guys do a million keywords or all kinds of stuff. Just, hey, prove you can navigate. We're trying to learn how to use a map and try to understand how this water flows in this digital environment. All right. So let's go back and I'll put this as an example too, since we don't have an example on here. And I got to sneeze, so one sec. All right. So we have an example of the document in there. All right. What's next? What's next? Let's have some fun. I want to have fun. Is it Pixie? Is it Pixie? Yes, Magic Pixies. So Magic Pixies is us setting up a WDS. A Windows just is a distribution services. I always say that one wrong. WDS. So let's do it. Let's do Magic Pixies. This is the one I like. This is how we can install off our network without needing a media. And we tried doing it in the very beginning off of my computer here, but it seemed to run so... It would have worked, but it was slow. Some people actually did it with the Pixie, and they had no issues. It ran fast for them. But, of course, when I was giving a demonstration, we had to pull the plug on that and go to ISO, right? I'm going to minimize that really quick. I picked the Pixies up here. Let me go File, Save. Well, Save As. Control V. Control C on that. Save it. Get this ready. There we go. Now it's ready for the next assignment. Ready to go. All right, so I can minimize that. We can take this full screen. Oh, now you're going to size full screen? How dare you? How dare you? All right, whatever. So we're going to do Magic Pixies, and we're going to put that on this one because this one's kind of a backup server, right? Our primary one's the other one, so we're just going to let that handle the main workload. This will be our secondary one. So for this purposes, we're going to put it on here. The only times you're going to actually use the Pixie servers when you're deploying stuff. So the WDS. So just like before, we're going to go to Add Roles and Features, okay? We're going to go Next and Next. And we're doing it on the computer that we're on right now. And if we go to the bottom right here, Windows Deployment Services. That's the one we want right there. Again, it tells us, hey, here's the tools to manage it. You need these features to manage. I'm cool. Add those features too. I'll trust you. Then I'm just going to hit next, next, next. It says WDS. WDS that requires that a DHCP and a DNS server are available on your network. Transport servers do not require any additional roles or services. Both of these services require NTF partitions for the file store. So if we're going to distribute these, we have to have NTFS as our format on our hard drive. So say we set up another hard drive and we didn't do it as NTFS and we want to store stuff there, we were going to have a problem. So looking at these, where are we going to have a problem right now? DHCP, yes. So let's go back. You need DHCP. Good catch. So we'll go back to server roles. So I'm going to uncheck this for now. I could do them both at the same time. It would let me. The question is, though, which one is it going to do first? So let's set up DHCP first. We're going to add it, and I'm going to go next, next, and next. Restart if needed. It doesn't need the restart for DHCP, but I'm going to say yes. And install. DHCP will be quick. Now, it's only installing it. We have to set it up. So we're going to have to set up a scope. Well, it's not going to hand nothing out. It's going to be like, hey, how do you like all my IP addresses? You can't have any. None for you, none for you, none for you. Enjoy your 169. Unless you're static. So what should we put on our notes? Why is it bold? I'm not bold. Might be italic. I'm not bold. Need the ACP and install that thing first. I know, there's no space right there. That's like saying, I'm sofa king. Right? I don't have to spell it right. You can say that out loud. You know what it says. Sean just got fired again. All right, we're good to go. Now you see, it says complete DHCP configuration. Again, flag right here or link right here. The following step will be performed to complete the configuration of the DHCP server on the target computer. Create the following security groups for delegation of DHCP server administration, DHCP administrators, and DHCP users. Authorize DHCP server on target computer if domain joined. So I'm sorry, guys. Those of you who didn't want to get married or who have been married before, you're getting married again. You got to make a commitment right here. All right. Use the following user credentials. I'm AM domain administrator. I'm good to go. All right. Sorry. Tie the knot. Commit. Done and done. Right? Shotgun. Now it's committed. Now I can actually open it up and do it. So now I'm going to go up to DHCP up here. And it's installed, but I need to set it up. So you guys should have set up a DHCP and a scope and everything in your Use Certify. This should be a refresher. Get over here. Anybody watch the new Mortal Kombat movie? That movie sucked. I'm going to go back to watch the original just so I can get that bad taste out of my brain. All right. So something I forgot to do. Let me go. I want to show you guys something as I'm in here. All right. So I can't zoom in and do stuff. If I right click on this, you see how everything's grayed out? For some reason, if you don't touch it and drop it, you can't see it. If I drop it and right click it, now I can see it. You're like, oh, okay, it's because it wasn't down. But now if I bring it back up and right click it, all that stuff's still there. So if you right click on something and your options aren't showing up, drop it. Like my IPv4, if I click on it, everything's gray. If I drop it and right click on it, now I have more options. I'll put it back up exactly how it was. Right click it. I still have my options. Microsoft, you're stupid. Fix your stuff. I'm still trying to figure out how to do my MCT renewal. I can't find a freaking person to talk to. Like, there's nothing wrong with the website. I'm like, really? How come there's like 8 people every day reporting something wrong with it? All right. So I'm going to go here. I'm right clicking on IPv4 and I'm just going to go new scope. This isn't mouthwash. This is actually going to be something that doesn't leave a burn in your mouth. So we're going to hit next and we're just going to name it. I'm just going to call this WDS. Or, no. We'll just call it workstations. Workstations. That works for me. Description. It doesn't matter what you put on there. I'm just calling it workstations because it'll organize these like that. We can do more than one scope. So my start and IP address range. So since I said workstations, earlier I said, damn you, 10.10.1, right? We were using ones for workstations, right? And I gave a static IP of 1 because we didn't have DHCP. Well, now we're going to have DHCP. I'm going to put 1 right there. Now, my end, I could literally just do like 10.255.255.254 if I wanted. It would hand out the full range. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to say for this scope, I'm just going to do 10.1.254. I'm just going to use that for my scope for workstations. Because my servers, I'm going to give all my servers a static IP address when I'm done, right? So I'm going to keep those out of what the DHCP is doing so we don't actually step on each other. Now, you guys might be familiar with this right here. This says length 8. Yeah, right, guys. Yeah. Anyway, this is actually your bits, values turned on. This is your subnet mask right here. They're just calling it length. But this just says 8 bits equal 255, right? 7 bits, 254. So let's go all the way to the beginning. Now you recognize these. Your first bit is 128, right? If we add 64 to that, 192. Right? And then we go 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. That's your values, right? This is our CIDR. This is our subnet mask. This is /8. If I add one more, now I'm going to do the first bit in this octet right here. Boom, 128. Same thing. Add 64, 32, 16, 18, 4, 2, 1. Make sense to you guys right here? This is our subnet mask. This is how many bits are turned on. And that's the value of the bits right there. So if you forget, that might help you remember that stuff when you're doing subnetting and stuff. This is just CIDR. That's all this is. If someone says you're using /32 or you're using /31, you're like, okay, what? All right, well, what is that? And then we know that's not even usable, right? What's that called? What's this one? What would use that subnet mask right there? See if anyone remembers. Or if you even learned it. Ad hoc, Bluetooth, device to device. That's what would use that. So you don't have a middleman, you don't have a router, I'm connecting to you, direct connect. That's what would use /31. But we're just going to leave it on 8. I said 8, buddy. 8. All right, let me go back. Yeah, it took, okay. So that means it's going to tell everybody automatically that they're going to be on a 255 or a Class A subnet. So we're good to go on that. I'm going to hit next. So this is add exclusion. So if there's anything in there that I don't want it to hand out in the scope I picked, that means within the 1 to 254, if there's any addresses in there I don't want to hand out, I would put that range in here that I don't want to hand out, that I want to exclude. But since I just prefer to set it static on the computer itself, I'm not going to mess with this. I'm just not going to hand out that range in the first place, so I don't have a problem. So I'm just going to go next. I'm not going to put anything in right here. Now here's our lease. On my network here, you have like a 4-hour lease on my network at my house. The default lease for a DHCP IP address with Windows is 8 days. So that's probably going to be something you have on a quiz or on your certification, is what is the default lease when you set up a scope on DHCP on server 2019. It's going to be 8 days. And after 8 days, it's going to ask for a new IP address or just renew it with the same one it already has. So we're going to go next here. And now it says, do I want to configure the DNS and DHCP wins, all that fun stuff? Yes. So the default gateway, if I had a default gateway, I would put it here, but we don't have one now, right? But if we want to, we can put, let's just put DC1 as our, let's just put that IP address in here just to do it. 10.10.10.1. We could put NAT on there and then it would route it and give us internet once we put NAT on it. So we could think ahead. So I'll leave that right there. We'll just put DC1's IP address for default gateway because we'll see that pop up when we do IP config later on a DHCP computer. So right here, it already knows DNS right here. It's already got it, .1, .2. And it says the parent domain is amdomain.local. So that's what it's going to say. Like when I mouse over here, that's what it's going to say for the network, whoever tries to connect to it. You can also see I have a problem down there too, right? I have a problem. Unidentified network. But we're going to go next. We don't have a Wins server. Wins is legacy. We don't have Wins. So we're good to go. We just leave this one blank. We'll just go next. And then, yes, I want to activate this scope now. I'm going to go next and finish. It should turn that green. It is green, and that means the scope is turned on. Is it working? Well, let's find out. First, I want to address that freaking elephant in the room right there. So let's go to it. Let's go to it. Remember, we restarted this. We have the DNS on it, but it seems to be grumpy. So we're going to go there. Some reason it says it has internet too. I'm like, is that showing my home computer or the... Interesting. Should be saying that. So I have a feeling maybe I'm looking at my computer right here, though I shouldn't be. No, I'm looking at the host for some reason. How can I see the host? I shouldn't be able to see the host. All right, let me undo that and we go back to view, full screen again. Yeah, that's weird. All right, so it's showing the right stuff here. I'm just going to make sure I'm going to disable and then enable it. So it's showing my host bar right here, which is kind of annoying me. I shouldn't be able to see that. Because I'm full screen. Weird. Well, we'll take it. It looks like it's working. I'm going to go to my host this time. Let me minimize that. And I'll minimize that really quick. So we put a static IP on our host so we could talk. Now we're going to go in there to change the adapter, and we're going to see this one that says unidentified network. We're going to change this to dhcp again and see if it gets an IP address. So I'm going to go to properties, and I'm just going to take the static off of my host on my intranet one. It says internal virtual switch. And I'm going to open up my IPv4, and I'm going to turn this off now. I'm going to turn that off and turn that. So, well, not off, but that's DHCP. Obtain an IP address automatically. Obtain DNS server address automatically. Make that good. Make that good. Look at that. AM, that was quick, right? AM domain.local. So now it's showing, instead of unknown network, now it knows where I live. It's got an identity on here. I go to details here. I still have the 10.10.1.1, the same one I was using, but now it was given to me with DHCP. Because it didn't know my static. I set static on my own. So now it actually knows, hey, I was given it. Now if I go back to that computer, I should be listed as having a lease for that now. So this stupid taskbar, you move. Thank you. Where is the taskbar on this machine? Are you freaking kidding me? I don't know what's going on with that. That is weird. Right? I'm clicked inside that. I'm hitting the Windows button. All right. But when I go full screen, come on. Hello. Well, what a beautiful demonstration this is. All right. Let's get out of this enhanced. This is going to drive me nuts. Goodbye, enhanced. Go away. Go away. I'm not playing your games. You hurt my feelings. All of this just because I just want my taskbar. That's it. I just wanted my taskbar. Too much to ask. All right, I'm going to DHCP now so we can see that. I probably already still have it open, don't I? Yeah, it's right there. If I go to scope, address pool, it's telling me this is what I can hand out is between this. If I go to address leases, my computer's there. AM, PM, SLS, AM domain dot local 5.4. So 8 days. It's gonna expire at that point on that computer. So that's how I know that's working correctly. So let's take this as a screenshot here for part of this proof that we set up DHCP. I'm trying to look in that bottom right hand corner now for my snippet tool. I'm special. So I'm just going to grab that really quick. That proves that that's set up and I'm connected to it. Then I'll just dump that over here. All right, now we have DHCP. Now we can do WDS, right? So we got our requirement. We have DNS and we have DHCP. Now we should be able to do WDS. So we're going to go to Manage, Add Roles and Features, or Dashboard, number 2, Add Roles and Features. And now let's do what we set off to do. We're just about done. Go next through here, WDS, Windows Deployment Services. Click that, hit Next. Next. And we're good there. We're going to hit next, and deployment service and transport server. So we're good. We want both of those. And then restart if needed. It's not going to need the restart, but again, make it a habit and hit install. So now we're going to put this in here, and this is going to be fun. Now, sometimes this is hit or miss if this works. Again, this is Windows software. If I'm doing this in production, I would probably be using Clonezilla because it works better. I would system prep a real system on the hardware. That's the same hardware I'm deploying out on the network. And I'd use Clonezilla, which would deploy out using torrent protocols. And it'll wait till all of them are ready, and then it'll be like, okay, go, and broadcasts all the computers, and they all listen at the same time and grab what they need. $11:22. This is gonna be a long video, my friends. All right, close. Are you done? Yes, it succeeded right there. It's done. Close. All right, so that one's good. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to come up the tools, and we can always check here, and this says, hey, all this stuff's been done. I'm going to clear this out really quick. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. And go into the tools, and it should be the last one in my tools now. Windows Deployment Service. Well, it's not the last one. Windows Deployment Services right here. We're going to that. So what we need is installation media to set this up. So again, like everything else, if you right click here, it's not going to show you what you think it should. You got to drop it and then right click it, and it gives you options. And I can manage other servers. So this server hasn't been set up yet. So it's got an exclamation point like, hey, you got some setting up to do. So if I right click on it, configure server. So before you begin, ensure that the following requirements are met. The server is a member of an Active Directory domain services domain or a domain controller for an administrative domain, ADDS domain. If the server supports standalone mode, it can be configured without a dependency on an Active Directory. So it says you can do it or you cannot do it. This is an active there is an active DHCP server on the network. This is because Windows Deployment Services uses pre-boot execution environment PXE, which relies on DHCP for IP addressing. There is an active DNS server on your network, yes, and this server has a NTFS file system partition on which to store images. We meet all those requirements. We're good. Hit next. Do we want to integrate it with Active Directory or standalone? Well, since we are domain joined, it says we have to use the Active Directory. If we are not domain joined, then we could do a standalone server, is what it just told us, and many, many extra words. So first option is what we're going with here. So now it says the remote installation folder will contain boot images, install images, PXE boot files, and the Windows Deployment Services management tools. Choose a partition that is large enough to hold all of the images that you will have. This partition must be an NTF partition and should not be the system partition. It's the system partition, guys. We're going to use it. It's going to get mad at us. We only have one right now, right? So here we go. Oh, it's mad at me. Look at that. Shame on you. You shouldn't do this, but you can do it anyways. That was a brief explanation of what it said. Then we have just defaults. We're going to leave everything defaults. Do not listen to DHCP and DHCP version 6 ports. Configure DHCP options for proxy DHCP. Yeah, we're just going to leave everything as defaults and hit next. Now it says do not respond to any client computers. Well, that would defeat the purpose, right, guys? Don't respond. Well, why am I making it? You better freaking respond, you stupid thing. Respond only to known client computers. That means only respond to computers that have already talked to this before. No. Respond to all client computers known and unknown. If I'm doing brand new clean systems, I need to respond to them because I ain't never seen them before. I don't know who you are, but I'm going to let the stork give birth to you, and then we're going to name you and set you up on here. So we're going to say respond to all computers. Now, we could say require administrator approval for unknown computers, but that means you'd have to log into here, approve it, and then go back to the computer and run through the steps. We don't want more work for ourselves, so we're going to keep this as simple as we can. So I'm just going to hit next. But that's what all those different ones are going to do to you and cause you problems. All right. The service did not respond to the start of the control request in a timely fashion. I know, because you always break on me because you suck, you stupid thing. So it just pretty much crashed on me and it didn't set up right. So I'm going to have to go through there and manually set it up now. It should have given me a wizard where I could go in and pick the install image. But guess what it didn't do? All right, so we're going to have to do this manually. Hopefully you don't have to do that. So we need an image. So we installed off an image. So do we still have that attached? Because we don't have it attached to this. Our computers here were done from a parent image. So we don't have anything attached to our virtual machine. So if we want to get to that ISO that we probably have in our desktop in an ISO folder and access it in a machine that we never used a DVD drive on it in the first place, we're going to have to add that, right, guys? I'm going to take this down. I'm going to minimize this. And I'm going to see we have our ISO right here. I'm going to go up to my DC2, go up to File, Settings. So you'll see I do not have a DVD drive attached to this. So I'm going to right click on SCSI. Well, not right click. I'm going to click on it and click DVD drive and click Add. Now I'm going to pick Image right here and browse. I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I saved my ISO at. I'm already there. I'm going to click it and say Open. And then Apply. Now it should show up in here as you inserted a DVD. So now that that's attached, I'm going to take this full screen again. And I'm going to drop that arrow and right click on Install Image. I'm going to say Add Install Image. And I'm going to call this just Server, because I'm going to use a server image. And next, the file location. Well, now that I have a DVD in, it tells you too where to look, right? Note, the default boot and install image, boot.wim and install.wim are located on the installation DVD in the sources folder. See that? Whack sources folder. All right. And DVD is usually D drive. So let me hit browse. And I'm on this PC right here. If I scroll down, I have a D drive. I'm going to double click on D drive and look, sources. Now for install, you want install.wim. For boot, you want boot.wim. Very complicated, right? So we're going to pick the install wim and go OK. Now, if that wizard didn't crash on us, we would have just been able to say, hey, look at D drive, and it would have grabbed the stuff automatically for us. But it didn't go as planned, and now we got to do it manually. So I'm going to hit next, and it says, okay, which one of these do you want to do? So if we want to save space, we'd be like, okay, well, we don't use standard, so we can get rid of standard, right? We can say bye-bye standard. We don't use you. So standard core and just regular standard, it's gone. So we'll just leave data center, core and data center with the GUI. Now remember, this is the opposite of when we were installing. When we were installing, it just said data center, and that was the one that was GUI. No, I'm wrong. The one that just said data center was the core one, and the one that actually said data center desktop experience was the one that said desktop experience. Now these are the opposite. It tells you one's core, and the other one's going to be your GUI. So there's no consistency with that either. So I'm going to go next. And I want to take those two because I don't want to waste that much space. And it's going to rip those out of this install.wim. I'm going to go next, and now it's going to create that on this computer. Now I can go in there and rename them so they're not confusing. But yeah, so we've already had one thing go wrong because I don't know. It just like ran faster than it wanted to because everything else went incorrect. Hopefully, when we try to boot a clean machine, it's going to work. I've seen this go many, many different ways when we do this exercise. So hopefully it works. If not, we'll just document, hey, we did this, take screenshots of it and say, hey, it's not working. I'll look at it and make sure it's not working and then say, okay, submit your stuff and we'll move on. But me doing it just by myself, I had an issue. So I would prefer to just do everything in VMware and have like VMware inside of VMware, because then we wouldn't have problems. But that's not, we have to learn how to use Hyper-V because it's part of your certification. So here we go. So we still need to add the boot image though. So we just added those two images right there. So if we want, I could go on this, I could right click on it, and now I can change. So I can go to properties on it and I can change the name of it. Put GUI on that. Now it says GUI and core. Actually, I want to fix that one too, because they didn't put a space after core. It's going to drive me nuts. Who the heck is calling me? Don't call me during class. All right, I'm going to hit apply. Then okay. So we have our install images, but we also need to put our boot images. So we're going to come over here to boot. Just going to right click on it and say add boot image. And same thing we just did. It should already be in the folder, okay? So if I hit browse, I'm already in that folder. I'm going to say bootwim. And then open. Then I should just be able to go next, next, next. And it's just going to grab that. That's a small file. It shouldn't take it too long to copy it over. So I say, as there's no progress bar in front of me right now. Three, 6, 6, 2. All right, finish. So theoretically, we should be good to go right now. So you do see this has a stop button, right? That means this is not actually running right now. So this is one of those pay attention to details. You look at it and say, hey, that's not a play button. So I'm going to right click this, go to all tasks and say start. And hopefully it actually starts the service and isn't broken. It says it was successful. Okay, we should have a green arrow. Green arrow, good to go. You wonder where they got the name for the green arrow? There you go, right there. The green arrow. Anyone get that? Flash, green arrow? No one? All right. Let's see if this works, guys. Let's see if this works. I'm going to minimize that, minimize that. We're going to create another machine. Another one. And hopefully this works. We're going to say new virtual machine. Next. Uh-oh. Scary. Core. Dum, dum, dum. Next. Generation 2. Next. We'll say I'm going to use dynamic on this one. 4096. Go down. Remember, if I'm using dynamic, what do I got to do, guys? Hyper-V say what? Now we have to put this on an internal virtual switch because that's where our stuff is. Now, since I'm doing a clean install, we're not using our parent image. We're going to pick a size. I'm just going to do... Let me just do 40. We're doing core. It doesn't need to be that big. And I'm just going to go next. Install... See, we've done install from a bootable image. We're going to do install from a network-based installation server this time. So we're going to click on that one. All that is telling this boot from DVD or boot from the network. That's all this is telling it. So core, generation 2, 4096, internal virtual switch, and our location where we're storing it, and we will be installing from the network. Finish. Now, I didn't see anyone respond. What do I have to do? I use dynamic memory. What do I got to do? Yep. I just saw it pop up. Settings. Change the max. Correct. Because we don't have that. We don't have that, right? We do have that. This will probably only use 512 when it throttles down because its core doesn't use that much. So I'm going to hit apply. Oh, and let's change the processor. Let's not forget that. We've been given it to. Let's keep with that. And then OK. Now we're going to hope that this works. So I want to connect to it, and then I'm going to turn it on. Now this won't be super fast. So remember last time we had some issues when I was trying to use the other one. Hopefully this is fast because it's on the same one that it's booting off of, but we'll see. Obviously it's trying to hotwire, so not enough memory in the system to start virtual machine core. Could not initialize memory, ran out of memory. So I have 4 and 4 and then on my host. So let's lower the memory. Do 2048. Let's see if we can start with that. You can do it. Come on. You can do it. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Such an achievement right there. All right. There we go. Pixie boot. It saw it. Oh, much faster than when we started doing this last week. Much faster. That's what we're looking for. Remember, we only have 16 gigs of RAM we gave our host computers, and we did 4, and our host needs RAM, so we went over that 16. All right. So we're going to have to fill in credentials. So remember, we had light touch, zero touch, and high touch. When we're talking WDS, we're going to think light touch. Zero touch, when we see SCCM on a question, SCCM is zero touch. So just try to relate those in your head. So now we have the Windows deployment services right here. So we're working. It's working. That's a good thing. We're going to hit next. Here's where it wants our credentials. Now, you see right here, it says enter your username in the format, domain/user. It's not saying type domain/user or domain whack user. It's saying your domain and your user credentials or user at your domain dot whatever it is. In our case, ours is am-domain.local, right? So ours would be administrator at am-domain.local or am-domain whack administrator, correct? So we can do am-domain whack administrator. And then our server 123 at exclamation point. And enter. And if I type it right, we're there. And now remember, I only gave us 2 options. Now we can also have Windows 10, we can have Windows 98, we can have all our windows in here as an option to pick. Or custom images that we built and we captured them. So we're going to do core. And next. It didn't put my space in there. Did you guys see that? See how rude that was? I took all that time to put a space in front of core and it wasn't there. I must not have hit OK the way it wanted me to. At least our hard drive's set, right? 40 gig. Giggity giggity right there. 40 giggity giggity. So we're installing across the network right now. So we can also set this up to capture a system and then deploy all the changes we made to all the other computers if we want. And it has to be generalized for it to do that. So the same way we did Control-Shift-F3, we'd set everything up, we'd generalize it, we'd definitely make sure that we did a checkpoint, because if you blow it away, you have to generalize it again. And then we would send that out to capture, and then we could push that as an option right there to all the other computers on our network. Kind of like a parent, yeah. similar, except we're not using it as the thing. We're making an exact copy. So we're pretty much creating a custom WIM file. So if you don't want to set up software on a bunch of computers, like sit down, set up, you got like 20 Delsons came in, you got to set them all up. You can set one up, capture it, and then use WDS to push that image out to all the other computers at one time. So you'll have your virus scan and everything already ready to go. Now you might handle that with group policies on a super large network because it takes longer to do something, but you can do a higher volume. So it's kind of, fire and forget, like a javelin kind of thing there. And they say you can do like a few hundred at a time or 1,000 with WDS, but I had problems just doing 25 in one classroom. So half of the class would fail and the other half would get pushed out correctly. So core, when we boot up, we're going to be just command prompt. So from command prompt, we need to know how's the quickest way we can get this up and running and set up. We have the exact same checklist, and I probably should have done this with the checklist one, but we'll go over it right now. So we're going to do the same checklist that we did for GUI, but we're going to do it the core way. And our goal is we're going to set this one up as a read-only domain controller. Like, hey, I don't want to play with you. You just do your thing, and that's it. %. It's going about as fast as it did when we installed it from ISO, isn't it? So if you have like a fiber backbone to all your servers, that's where this comes in nice and fast. That was a 3D printing company calling me. Oy. I just saw 3D Systems has a resin for 3D printing that acts like thermoplastic, and you can do like clips and stuff that are flexible. Let's try to see if I can get my hands on some of that resin to make some stuff. All right, restart this and we should be good to go. Now, if this did everything by default, we might actually already be domain joined on this computer. Now, you can also tell this to activate based if its host is activated. So, boom. copy this really quick. Let's about send it just to one person. If you guys want how to do that, it's right there. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Clap, clap. So we're on the end of the second week as of Wednesday, right? I believe so. Yeah, this is the longest video ever. This is gonna be like the 4 hours, but I'm gonna try to trim it up for you. I'll upload the raw one, and then I'll go through edit and then replace that with another one. Okay, guys? Cut out and fast forward everything just so that it'll be ready to go for those of you who don't want to wait. So since I'm on the internal network, I am not going to be activated, right? So I also know that I'm already domain joined. You see that? Enter credentials from other user or hit it to switch user sign-in methods. User password sign in to AM domain. It already domain joined me from install. How you like that? So I need to do. Now, remember, we still have that problem. So it named this computer administrator 1. When I put that R in there, it still flipped that. Annoying, right? So don't forget, keep an eye out for that. Can I not go forward in this? What just happened? No, I can't. All right. So I'm just going to do AM domain whack. There we go. I'm going to tab down and then type in my password. Now, if I look at DC2 right now, or any of my domain controllers at that, I will see this computer is now a computer on there, right? So let me just open up DC2 because it's probably still open. Nope, it's not. Damn security features. What did I just do? Come here, you. I wanted to click on that. All right. So going up to our tools, going up to our server manager. What am I? Where's my Oh, go to the top, you stupid thing. Active Directory users and computers. So this should show up as just a computer right now on the network. So when that opens up, hold your breath, everybody. What's your favorite color of purple? It's already open behind it. So see right here, administrator 1. It's right there. All right, but we know stuff's not going to be set correctly on it. So we have no GUI. We have no GUI tools, right? Anybody? You guys like trick questions? Because that was a trick question. Oh, I lied. Some of the tools work. Really? Really? Are you going to do this to me? I don't want to type. I really don't want to type. Whatever. I'm going to have to type. All right, we'll type. But yeah, you have access to this. And if you really want to cheat and get around and navigate, you kind of have a way to access your hard drive from right here and look around and do stuff without having to navigate through there, right? How you like that? Does Windows want you to know you can do this on a Microsoft exam? No. But if you really suck at typing like I do, yeah. Find your tools. All right. You also have Paint too, I believe. Maybe not. There's some other tools in there that still work in here. But the one we're looking for is sconfig. So sconfig, system config, server config, whatever you want to call it. This might look familiar to you. Domain, computer name, add local administrator, configure remote management, Windows update settings, download and install updates, remote desktop, network settings, date and time, telemetry settings, Windows activation, log off, restart, shut down, exit. A lot of the same stuff we do, right? So we're already domain joined. We might not like our computer name, though. We might want to change our computer name. Configure remote management. It says it's enabled. Now, there's something hidden in option 4 there. And I'll show you. 4. You see that option 3? Configure server response to ping. Why is that under remote management is enabled? Right? So we definitely want to respond the ping. There's no reason not to respond the ping. There we go. Successfully configured to allow ping. Now we'll talk properly. Maybe I should do that on that other computer and see if it works. All right. So now I'm going to go back to I'm going to hit 4 to return the main menu. So activation. We want to make sure we're activated, correct? So, and our time. So let's do our time first. Time is number 9. We know our network's working because we're domain joined and we logged in and all that stuff worked. So we know that's working. So we're going to go do our time first. Now, this is very, very complicated. Are you ready for it? You've never seen this in your life. Ah, dang it, there's a GUI. I'm just playing with you guys. You've seen this before? That's it. That's still some GUI stuff right there. All right. The network's not so kind to you, though. Network's not so kind. So we probably want a static IP. We're going to set this as a read-only domain controller. So we're going to follow our whole scheme for our IP addresses for our static. And when I say we're going to use .3, you know I'm going to use 10.10.10.3, right? Because we know we're using our 10s for our servers, we're using our 1s for our workstations, and we have DACP for that crap. So we're going to use option 8 here. And you see we got 10.10.1.2 because that's what DACP gave us. Now it's asking us for the index number. So you see how it says index and there's a 1 under it? It wants me to hit that 1. So I'm going to hit 1 like it's 1 in a million. And this also kind of gives me an IP config right here. Here's what that's already set up as. It has the DACP enabled, true. It's getting default gateway 10.10.10.1 because that's what I set DACP to do. And we have preferred DNS server 10.10.10.1 and 10.10.10.2. We want to set network address, number 1. So let's hit 1 and enter. Now it says select DACP, hit D for DACP or S for static. I mean, I like shocking things, so we're going static right here. Enter an IP address. Okay, we're going to do freaking number lock. All right, there, 10.10.10.3. Not 3 dot. We don't have that many octets. And hit enter. Now enter subnet mask. Blank equals default. 255. Hey, I'm cool. Enter. Enter a default gateway. We weren't entering one, but we know, I mean, we might use it. We might use 10.10.10.1. It's the DACP's doing it, so it wouldn't hurt us to put that in there. If we ever do put NAT on there, that'll give us internet. All right. So now that's all set. Is it going to work? You see up there above me? Will that work right now? Will I be good? Or did I just shoot myself in the foot? Had to suck on an empty straw. Sound effects. Yep, DACB's turned off now. So am I gonna have communication now? Am I gonna work now? Can I talk to 10.10.10.1? Can I zoom in on this? Of course not. So I'll give you a few more seconds and I'm gonna point something out. All right. You guys see right here? And right here? I don't have DNS set up. Yeah, that's going to cause me some problems, right? I'm going to be out there screaming my head off, and there ain't no operator. Ain't no one directing my phone call. I'm going to clear that. So we need to do option 2, set DNS servers. So let's do that. And again, I think some of you forgot to do that on Windows 10, and then you found out the hard way that you really need to have the DNS set, right? All right, I just did option 2. And now it says enter preferred DNS server. That's my primary, right? And then we know that that's our DC1, 10.10.10.1. And then my secondary could be 10.10.10.2. You don't have to have one, but it's good to have a backup, right? And then, okay. Now we should be just fine talking to the server, except now we have a static IP set. Everything else is set exactly how it was before, right? When we had DACP sending it. So now I can go to 4. Dot 4. How did I even hit a dot? I don't even know how that happened. All right. So we've got our time. We've got our network. Well, we're not activated, are we? We don't know if we're activated. Let's do 11. How the hell do we know if we're activated on this? Use my computer name. I do want to do my computer name, but cancel. It's not what I wanted to hit. We'll do that in a second. Activation 11. That's what I was trying to do. So 11 is activation. It says display license info. Activate Windows. Install product key. Return the main menu. Let's see. What's our information here? 1. Now let's ran a service license manager, and it says that I'm not. It says I have 10 days. Time remaining. 10 days. That's not what we want, is it? We can close that. So what happens if we do 2? Activate Windows. What's that going to do? Remember, we're not on the internet right now. We're on our internal because we just installed off of WDS, right? So it didn't like that either. So I could run. Is it going to let me paste? Is it going to let me type anything? All right, it will. Well, let me see if the other one will let us enter it that way. So we're going to go to 3, install product key. So a thing about these is you can enter stuff and we can have it activated based on if its host is activated, and it will activate this if its host is activated. Now, honestly, I haven't tried this on the eval. I know it works on my other one on the blocks of knowledge because we used it. So let's see. It says on that link that I told you that we can do data center. I'm not sure if this is going to let me copy and paste. I'm going to try it. No. Nothing special. I really don't want to type it, guys, but I guess I'm going to have to. So, hey. I should just say, hey, somebody log onto my machine right now and just start typing that for me. No. We're going to do H3. And you guys can write this down, too, because this is actually what you can use for yours. RNG -8, not 87, C3. 32Q. I hate typing. Do I have to do capital? I don't think I do, but let's try. You guys like typing serial numbers? If I was smart, I would just hit the cap lock, but no. BMW. WM BMW. Let's see, did I type anything wrong? One sec, guys. Someone's knocking on my door. All right, sorry about that. I had to get the door. All right, so let's see. Did it activate? Probably not. Let's see. 2. It probably still needs internet just to do that too, but it should be able to activate it up against its host. Again, it might not work with the eval though. So the other way you could do that is to actually type in the SLM manager. Here, I'll show you guys. So on a real one that's not eval, that should work to activate it. So let's see something really quick. I just want to know. So I'm going to take this out of... Oh, that's why. That's why. Guys, I'm special. I'm going to return the main menu, and I'm going to go exit the command prompt. Here's why I'm special, because I kept on forgetting I'm in VMware. So I just come up here, and I tell it to paste. Yeah, it's not going to work on this one. All right, so we're going to have to give it internet for this to activate, guys. So we need to shut this down, right? I did that wrong. I did. Screw it. I can't type. So I'm just going to do it the easy way. So I'm going to shut it down. We're going to give this internet really quick. We're going to activate it. We don't want this restarting every hour on us, right? So should we just name this DC3 or should we name this RODC 1? So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to flip this over to that other network really quick. So that we can activate, start it. Since we've already logged into it, it's going to keep a certificate so we can log in, but it's not actually going to be able to talk to the domain controller. If we were on a real version, we'd be able to activate it. But since we're on the evaluation, I do not see the key that works for the evaluation to activate up against those. So yes, we do need internet for this, but we don't need it like in the field. We'd have an activation server and stuff, and we can even have it so it automatically enters that. So on that link I gave you, it says AVMA key, and then you can set an unattended .exe setup file so that it can push it out automatically too. All right, let me log in really quick. Remember, it's going to act stupid to me, so I'm going to say am domain /administrator. Hopefully I typed that right, or else we're going to be doing a circle right now. I might have fat fingered something right there. We'll find out. The long welcome is not supporting my theory here. Nope, I did it wrong. Okay. Administrator. No, that's right. I probably fat fingered the other part. There we go. This should activate. Once we see it's activated, we'll flip it right back to the network that it should be on to communicate with the domain. There we go. So I'm going to sconfig this. And I'm just going to say, hey, activate, please. I could use a hug right now. All right, here we go. Ding dong. Display license info. Please say 100 in some days. No, no, no. That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, it's not gonna. More fun stuff. Well, good thing we're doing this now. So, something else we got to do. Remember, we set our static IP. Well, guess what's not going to give us internet? We set a static IP with no internet access. We got to undo all that now. Or, if you want to see Sean get sneaky, watch this. Now we have one with dhcp. Let's try this again. All right, that was a whole lot of stuff to click through right there. View. I just want to see if that one will work now that we have internet on it. Nope, same error. But we should be good. All right, so we're gonna close that and just redo the first one. I might have to. Oh, there it goes. It says it worked. Just one more double check. Yeah, it says we need to restart it. So let's restart it. Four. Actually, let's do. Yeah, we'll do a restart and then we'll do a. Remove that card I just put on it. Keep hitting the wrong key. And I'm almost done. I'm almost done, guys. Are we cray yet? 4-hour video for everybody? For your 4 hours of homework? Reduce, reuse, recycle, ICLE. All right, we should be activated now. So it's going to come online. I could have just flipped that other network card. All right, fun part. You have to watch this video. I ain't getting no 500 views on this video. Come on. Come on. We ain't got time for this. Waiting for a group. Policies, client. Cause I'm cray. I'm gonna put like a mixer board up here. I'm gonna play elevator music each time we're doing this. Just so you can have a better VA appointment later. I'd add whatever notes you need, my friend. Whatever notes you need. All right. Can I cheat? Is it possible to just... Nope. I can't type, guys. All right, we should be activated, so that's one of our things we need to do. After that, we should be able to actually manage this from the other computer. The only other thing I want to do is make sure remote desktop's on and make sure we change the name. Something that means something to us on our network. So we'll give this a second. It seems to start. It's running a little bit slower now than it was before. So I made it angry. That's what I do. There we go. sconfig. Let's get in there. All right. Should be activated. We'll say 11. 1. It's happy. We have 180 days right there. Mission accomplished. Aye, sir. All right. We're activated. Now we're going to go to return the menu. 4. I know I'm going fast. I want to change the computer name, and also I want to make sure remote desktop is on. Right now, number 7 says disabled, not acceptable. 7. We're going to say enable E. Now allow only clients running remote desktop with network level authentication, more secure, or allow clients running any version of remote desktop. This might be familiar. This is the exact same questions we answer in GUI. First option. Make sure I'm clicking inside of here. Numero uno. Enable remote desktop. Checklist. Good to go. And now we're going to rename our computer. See number 2 up there? Number 2. That's where we're headed now. Number 2. Not 23. Number 2. Damn fat fingers. Enter new computer name. I'm going to just call this... Our naming scheme we were doing AM-PM- I'm going to do read-only domain controller. And hopefully I have enough digits to put SLS on here. I probably don't, but we'll find out. Are you mad at me? Enter. Specify an authorized domain user, administrator. Password. It's not going to show it to me. See that? It doesn't show me typing. You are actually typing. It's not going to show you typing, though. It's going to tell me to confirm it. Or it should tell me to confirm it. We'll see. Maybe it's just thinking right now. It wants a hug. Oh, it can't talk to the domain, guys. It can't talk to the domain. I'm going to do something I shouldn't do. All right. If I break it, I'm sorry. If I break it, I'm sorry. And if I break it, you don't do this, okay? If I break it, you don't do this. I'm going to flip that to my internal. I just deleted the one I added just to do it. Remember, this is a no-no. Don't make a habit of doing this, okay? When you do this, don't do what I just did. Shut it off and change it. Because now I'll be able to actually change it. 2. Read only domain controller. 1. SLS, I guess. Why did it do that? There we go. You must restart your computer to apply these changes. Because I wasn't on the network, I wasn't talking to the domain controller, and I had no rights. Now I do. And it seems to be working, and I didn't break it. If you're on a GUI computer, do not do that. You will break it, okay? Do as I say, not as I do. You guys are all parents. You know that one, right? You got kids. It's just like going to church. I mean, I can tell you to kill everybody and kill a bunch of firstborns and everything, but you shall not kill, okay? Got it? All right, that should be good to go. I don't need to do anything else with that. So I'm just going to show you one more thing. I'm just going to leave this right here because we can manage this now. I'm going to log on to DC1. As I double click DC2. But it didn't register. So we're good. We're good. Unless it's waiting in the wind. Are we good? We're good. All right. So here's where we're going to get our screenshot. We're going to log on to DC1. Like, how's that going to prove I did something on DC2? Wait for it. Or read only domain controller. So we haven't set up read only domain controller, but we don't need to do that for this. We will set that up later. That is there just for us to play with it in shortly. So I'm going to go to all servers. I'm going to right click on all servers and say add servers. So right here, you got all this fun stuff, but guess what? I can just say find now. And it's going to show all the computers on my system. I probably should have done capitals on that, but I mean, that seems to work. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to hold shift and click on that one. And I'm going to add those and say, okay. So at this point, if everything's talking correctly, I should get my IP address and it should tell me if it has a performance counter. At this point, I can manage all of these from this computer as long as everything shows up correctly here. You might get a Kerberos authentication error. That means we have a network problem. We want to check and see if there is an unknown network on their network card. It looks like we're talking just fine here and everything's good. So what I would like is I'm going to turn on my performance counters, right? I'm going to say at the very bottom here, start performance counter. I'm going to do that to all these. It's going to tell me if I need more resources. If it's red, if it's bottlenecking, I was going to say if it's rednecking, that ain't going to make any sense. But if it's bottlenecking, we need to know so we can give it more resources, more RAM, more processor, more hard drive storage, whatever it needs, we need to feed it. And it's going to tell us like at what time of day it's being used the most. Now in our case, we're not going to, it's going to be used the most when we're using it and doing stuff because there's no load on our servers except my main server. So we got online, we got the IP address. Isn't this nice? 1, 2, 3. Makes it easy. Now if I go back to my dashboard, well, not my dashboard, but even right here, see how it added stuff. WDS, DNS, DACP, Active Directory, in all servers. How you like that? So for now, just so this video isn't exactly 4 hours, we're going to say 3 hours and 30 minutes and no break. Let's take our screenshot. So screenshot all servers with RODC1 connected to this and DC2 like this, showing everything. I'm going to try to drag a corner here. Oh, I made this so it wasn't. Yeah, that's okay. And I'm just going to grab my screenshot. Maybe. Hey. Oh, it's on the side. I'm special, guys. I moved it over there so it wasn't in the way. Now I don't know where it lives. Screen snip. Go full screen. Boom. Because this proves we did DHCP, we did WDS, we installed that so it works. Yeah, you could cheat and do it the other way and do an ISO on it, but hey, you're only going to cheat yourself if you don't do it the way I showed you. So I'm just going to come over there. I'm going to grab this. So I have my new DHCP installed. It shows that. And then this other one, I'm going to make sure I use my down arrow and I'm looking for my cursor at the bottom. I'm not seeing it. Cursor. If you don't show me my cursor, I'm going to start cursing. And it's just not appropriate for class. All right. Click down here. There we go. Control V. So you can see how when I say the picture needs to prove you did what I asked you to do, right there. That's proof. Because none of this would show up if you didn't do if you missed any of those steps, none of this would have worked, right? And I know you're going to get confused a little bit because this video is going to suck long. I'm going to edit it later. I'm going to take a break after because you haven't had a break. I haven't had a break. So if you guys want, I will let you go at 12:30 because we did not take a break. And you have, your lunch to do this, and I'll try to upload this right away. So let me just save this for the example. I already named it Magic Pixies, so I'm going to save that and upload it. So I apologize for the super long video. I'll edit it. I promise I'll edit it. I'll get rid of the load screens and everything. All right, so let's come up here, go edit, and I'm going to give you guys your example. Don't submit my example as your work. I will be able to figure out that you did that. All right, and this was Magic Pixies. Look at that. We got a whole lot done today, though, huh? Well, you got nothing done unless you're doing that with me. But some of you recorded your own videos, and you'll be good to go anyway. So, save that. All right, we have it up, and it looks like it works. Here's the preview. Hopefully I spelled my name right. Did I spell my name right? Hey, show us the preview. Show us the preview. Thank you. Stop wasting our time. Get ready to conclude this video. Dun, 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 dun. It's going to be easier for you to do it, though. It's going to be quick. All right, that's good. We have that shows up. Minimize that. Close that. Come over here. Kill the video. Everybody, enjoy. And I'm going to go open recorder and